ese gato se va. Sáquenme la botella que funda para gastarle. Esta noche tú y yo nos vivimos la película. Luce cámara, la acción después en mi recámara. En el duelo no se sabe quién ganará. So baile y bebe. Ese seguro y retrocede. Que me encanta la manera en que tú lo mueves.
Solo pégate un poquito, mami, que yo quiero enseñarte lo que yo tengo para ti. Lo que tengo para ti. Sé que te va a encantar como meto yo.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome. Wait, does this thing work? Yep. Okay. Yeah, I think it works. Welcome back, everybody, to Primetime Studios. Like always, I'm your host, Primetime Phil, and it has been a minute since I have been on this broadcast running around. Yeah, I think it's that way. But anyways, one thing that stays consistent is, of course, my co-host, Gametime Bryan. What's going on, Bryan? It has been a while, sir.
Primetime Phil, I know the voice. You look familiar. Do we know each other, sir? Do we know each other, sir?
It was probably in a past life at some point, but I think at the time the Cowboys were still not in the Super Bowl, but still, we were back, and how you been, man?
I've been doing great. I'm glad to have you back, brother. I really am. Listen, everybody knows you're busy. CZ already with the super chat. Who is this guy? Never seen this dude before. He definitely an a-hole. CZ, shout out, brother. Thank you.
Yeah.
A lot of Eagle love here. I appreciate that. But yes, Phil, I am. Oh, sorry.
Keep firing, assholes.
Keep firing, assholes. Anyway, Phil is alive. Yes, Jimbo. Listen, everybody. Me and Phil were just talking a little bit, and I'm like, YouTube's been kind of rough lately. No offense, but it's been kind of rough. And it all starts with our team, right, Phil? Is that we can't do anything to get our own way sometimes. We're watching bad football teams. I'm sorry. New England, okay, they're good, but they're not great. Seattle, they're good, but they're not great. I
made some money. I those are the two teams I picked in the beginning of the playoffs and stuff like that. Not at the beginning of the season.
Well, look at you.
Those are the two. Remember when I brought up New England? You were like, "Yeah, I think it's fake."
I get wrong.
I was like, "Yeah, of course." But I was, I'm ecstatic in the sense that I was right. But it's one of those things. Can both teams lose? I would really hope that would be awesome. Can they end in a tie and neither one of them win?
I'm just not looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to the halftime show. I think that's kind of where I am. I know a lot of people probably aren't.
Ultra are a big Bad Bunny fan.
No, I'm sure Ultra is. From what I know, he is not. Got his Bad Bunny tattooed on his ass.
Zion Young, Bud Clark, and Kyle.
But man, I am happy definitely to be back. There has been a lot since I've been on the broadcast. I know I jumped on yours once or twice throughout. I don't know. I don't even know when it was. It's been weeks, months, maybe even definitely over a month.
Yeah, it's been over a month at least since you left did something.
Yeah, it honestly has. And so I kind of had this availability as it's opening up, and my team has been growing from work, and more responsibility has been thrown on me. But I have the evening, and now I have it all figured out to the point where I'm going to be back. I'm going to be on your broadcast. We're going to be on this one Saturdays. I don't know how much we're going to have to talk about, but we'll talk. You know how it is with this Cowboys drama and stuff where even the offseason starts going, he gets arrested and stuff like that. So hey, there's always some kind of thing. And I think that was the biggest thing when I put this channel together. Hey, if I go to travel, get some point I can't travel all the time. So how do I have something that the content continuously comes without me wanting it? Right. And that is definitely the Dallas Cowboys. So I think I want to say, even though it's drama and stuff, the one thing I've been positive about, and I'm sorry to go, and I want to hear your parts of it, is the coaching staff. This coaching staff that we're putting together, the defensive coordinator. I want to get your opinion on it because I know nobody really has my opinion on it as well too. But what are you feeling about it?
Okay, I'll briefly give you my opinion. We were kind of led down a Jim Leonard path, right? And I'm on board. Again, you have to understand we are at the mercy of the information that we're given, right, Phil? We could all act like we know Jim Leonard from college. He seems like the type of guy that we would have wanted. Apparently, he was on the list and high on the list right up until the moment that Christian Parker interviewed. And once that happened, he then became the front runner. And sometimes, what you of all people know, Phil, and the job that you have, maybe, well, I'll just say this. Sometimes maybe the guy that's the most qualified doesn't interview the best, maybe on paper, right? You need to find a diamond in a rough or a guy who's had success, a motivator of men. And I think that's what they found with Christian Parker from the Eagles. Can he call plays? I don't know. But that's where I'm at. I think they got their guy, Phil, and that's all we could ask for. An extensive search. It wasn't just let's satisfy the Rooney Rule and then pick the guy that we're familiar with because we know that's how we roll. No, they interviewed nine guys, and they stumbled on him and they fell in love with him. So how am I to hate that? I love that. Your opinion, though. That's what we're all holding our breath for.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They've heard
I'm
me
sure.
say that
many times. So when I look at it, Leonard obviously was my top pick itself. Parker was in my top 3, I think, and so I had some guys on there as well. When you're going with a guy that's not, hasn't called plays, not a defense coordinator, you had 2 guys to me that were the leading candidates. I think Christian Parker to me kind of came out of left field. I didn't know as much other than there was an interview, I think, in some where they kind of like interviewed him and kind of documented his career prior to coming back to the Eagles and everything. I think this was when he was still in Denver. And so I love that interview. I love that whole documentary. I was like, okay, so, I knew who of him, but I didn't know a lot of him. And then of course, once you kind of hire somebody like that, I think that's kind of opens it up to what you wanted, what's going on, what's his personality. So as you dive deeper in,
right.
You're loving the person that he is, the motive. Yeah. The, like what you said, the motivator of men. And I think that's a hard thing to be sometimes in the NFL because let's be real, man. The NFL has lots of egos, and to be able to stroke those egos, but to also be able to have that discipline on them as well too. It's a fine line to be able to balance. And I think when you have a guy that can speak, I mean, that's a huge thing. And I think when I looked at Shotty putting this team together in the coaching staff, we all know that first year didn't get anything from the defensive side, right? He had no input really. And when you looked at what he did offensively, and we talk about Clayton Adams, we talk about these guys that have come in, Connor Wright, I think, is the other one with the offensive line. There has been some guys that there has been some guys that can develop this personnel, and we didn't have that on the defensive side. And now when you're seeing these pieces being put together, like the new hires today, what was it? Zach's, what was it?
Today we brought in actually a highly touted coach, Derek Ansley. From the Green Bay
Packers. And he has, and it's not just the Packers. I think people tend to forget that he did coach with Nick Saban in the national championship Alabama team as well too. So I mean, he has a history as well there too. So I like that fact that you're bringing in people that can develop in those positions.
He's Packers pass game coordinators who we brought in, Phil.
Yeah. And then to me, I'm as much as those names are great, and then you got your secondary coach from Arizona, Zach Smith, right? I think that's his name. And
Ryan Smith, he's the cornerback coach from. Again, there's a theme here.
Right.
Young guy, Ryan Smith. It's Ryan Smith, cornerbacks, younger guy. Obviously, Derek Ansley, as we just talked about, coached under Nick Saban, who I became a quasi-Alabama fan since when Nick Saban was there, just because of what he's just an unbelievable coach. But Ryan Smith. Yep.
Yeah, so when I look at those, I mean, those are guys that you like you said, you're tediously looking at each one. What have they been able to do in their past? What are they known for? And each one definitely has a bright side to them. When I even look at so that's what I was thinking of. I was thinking about Orr. That's what I was thinking about. I was thinking of Zach Orr, where that's a possibility of a linebacker coach. That would be amazing to me.
I don't know where he's going to coach for us, but he's pending.
Well, he interviewed for the defensive coordinator position, and he was a high candidate on that too.
So he's going to come in here to do something, it seems. Zach Orr, it says pending. So I believe he's in.
Man, I would love that. That'd be a great one as well.
That's phenomenal to get a guy like him.
And then you got Dixon on the defensive line, possibly, right? And I think that was one a little bit surprising to me.
Marcus Dixon, ex-Cowboy, not for long, but he was with us. I
do remember it.
Yeah, he's from North Texas. But just real quick, Zach Orr, this goes to what we were talking about, right? You bring in a young Christian Parker. Now you have an actual defensive coordinator who's going to work with him. It's wonderful that a guy with his stature would almost take a step down, but in his idea, maybe it's not a step down. I mean,
what's going on there, buddy?
he was interviewing for other jobs, so the fact that he's coming here is really, really exciting and may open up opportunities for past Ravens to come to Dallas, just like Christian Parker, and we'll talk about it. To players that play with the Eagles that would possibly want to come to Dallas. You want guys that are familiar, right, Phil?
Yeah. Well, I'm even hearing Fitzpatrick being a possibility of a safety that would be linked to our secondary as well too, with some of these hires as well. So
yeah,
I'm not exactly excited about that one. I know. Well, as Cowboy Nation, we have had our we want our safeties type of whole thing, and it's not really gone our way. But at least our safety room wasn't like it was like 8 years ago,
Yeah, well, let me rattle off some of the guys that we've interviewed, okay?
Yes, definitely.
So right now, we have 3 official coaches, okay? Ryan Smith, Derek Ansley, I guess he's going to be the pass game coordinator. I'm not sure. That's what he was with Green Bay, so I'm not sure his official title. And obviously, Christian Parker, okay? Pending.
Well, you're right there. Those
coach.
I was going to say those 2 guys. They're hopefully going to improve your secondary there too.
Yeah, pending Zach Orr. That means they verbally agreed. That's what that tells me. Orr was a key candidate for the defensive coordinator position. Decided to award to Christian Parker, but they clearly were not done with Orr.
Or
Marcus
as Jerry
Dixon,
would say, we got a verbal contract. We don't need to bring agents involved.
What's up, Clemente? Happy birthday to your wife.
What's
brother.
up? Yes. What's up, everybody? It's great to see everybody's name in here, man. That's awesome.
Marcus Dixon, Phil just brought it up. Vikings defensive line coach. I like that. Ronell Williams was interviewed. Eagles assistant linebackers coach. Haven't heard much. He was also
I've heard
with the
much
Bears.
of him, but hey, their linebackers did develop. So
Robert Livingston was interviewed. He's the Colorado defensive coordinator. I'm not sure that he's coming, but those are just
what's up?
Those are just some of the names.
That Nicholas Lambert's gentleman in there in the chat. He's that's my old boss.
Nicholas Lambert, what's up, my man? How you doing? Welcome to the Primetime Phil and Primetime Studios as the hoodie that I'm wearing.
Oh yes, definitely. He's definitely heard some of the stories and everything, so that's great. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate the support. But yeah, when you're putting this coaching staff together, like you're naming off some of the list, like what you're saying, they're not going to bring in 3 guys and we're hiring the 67-year-old gentleman that's done this in the league. And I think we've heard the radio stations talk about how they have that history of the old head coach. That's why Gannon was in that big, huge talk of a possibility. I think a lot of Cowboy Nations were in agreement. They didn't want that to happen at all. I think a lot of it, Eagles Nation also wanted that to happen. So it was a little bit funny there when I was seeing that from the kind of the background there. But anyways, Bryan, obviously the Super Bowl a week away. I think I've always been a big harper on this, and it pisses me off to no end. I want the Pro Bowl played after the Super Bowl. I want the Pro Bowl played after Super Bowl. I want Super Bowl champions to go to the Pro Bowl and the Pro Bowl to actually mean something. Not Jake Ferguson got in because so-and-so is going to the Super Bowl and he can't make it and he stubbed his toe and you're not a Pro Bowler to me. It's basically, and then you got Shador Sanders and that whole thing. It's like you're diluting this even more and more, and it's like are we gonna is it gonna be the All-Star team versus like the mascots? I think I'd watch that a little bit more than the Pro Bowl. At least the mascots are a little bit vicious with some of their stuff. So what do you think about the Pro Bowl and the whole skills challenges and all that?
You know how I feel. I love Hawaii. I like that whole vibe. And especially now when I look out, right now I have my door open and there's ice that hasn't been melted in 2 weeks. There's snow and ice outside. It's not fun. But there was always something nice about Hawaii. People talk about, well, the game's not good. Who the heck cares? That's just, I just enjoy seeing everybody in their Hawaiian shirts or Tommy Bahama shirts, whatever, on the sideline at the Hula Bowl. I was at the Hula Bowl, and I just love the vibe of Hawaii. Everybody could actually go, Phil, right? The best players who are in the biggest game could still go if they want. And there's nothing better than you have a Peyton Manning and the Tom Brady both going to the Pro Bowl a week after the Super Bowl, and there's a winner and there's a loser. I love that dynamic, and I think we lose out big.
Yes.
Yet they do this. Sorry, everybody, this candy ass shit. Where are they at? Orlando, Florida, like Disney, whatever. I think it's dumb.
They have that
I
whole
think it's
sports
dumb.
center there. Yeah.
It needs to go.
Like,
back
I could drive up there, and I am not interested in doing it. I'm just not. It's just.
I miss the quarterback challenge with the golf carts in Hawaii. Okay, I miss that. I want to see my
like Happy Gilmore
too.
2? Is that what you're talking about? No, I'm just.
It could be, but I miss all that. The skills. I mean, this is just Mickey Mouse, but whatever. Everything they do is for money. They probably don't go there because of money. Probably. Let's be honest. Jimbo,
it could be. I mean, it could be a big, huge thing that Disney could be paying as well too to have it there. You never know.
Sure
it's always about the money when it comes to the NFL. You know, other than we do these charities. Well, you do the charities for tax write-offs. Don't make it seem like you care and all that kind of stuff. You didn't really care about the whole women getting beaten by the players until it became a problem and you guys were in court, and then it was all of a sudden, hey man, treat everybody correctly. You know, it's like it's always they're always looking out for themselves in that sense as well too. And I think, you got at some point, obviously this season, you got the competition committee that's going to be, coming together. Are there certain rules that you think that are going to come out that are going to pop out? You think they're going to do some things with kickoff? I think the kickoffs are getting better, but I don't know.
Well, that's a good topic to talk. You brought up rules, right? And I know the one rule, I would imagine that the tush push is gone, even though it didn't have much effect this year. That's gone. They're going to get rid of that, okay? It is what it is. But didn't we go into this season as Cowboy fans thinking we were going to have this big advantage over the whole league regarding the kick returns, right? Didn't we think, oh, my God, we're going to be starting at the 50-yard line every time, and it's going to be such an advantage. We heard from DallasCowboys.com people how good Dallas was going to be. And they were horrible. Even though our guy backdoored into a Pro Bowl the other day,
because you don't think it. I think it's because nobody else thinks about anybody else kick returning. I don't think there's anybody else that the people tend to. I think Chicago's. I think Nation Wright, the corner. I think that was something that was possibly that could have kind of dethroned him a little bit, but. Yeah, that's just the reason why. I think it becomes name recognition, right? I think is that the reason why Quentin Williams gets in there as well?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just you mean Quinn Ewers? Or no, who?
The Williams. Who? Our defensive tackle. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, he probably deserved it, but
not to say he doesn't, but
it's become a joke. It really has. I mean, when Shedeur Sanders makes the Pro Bowl, I think we all know it's a joke, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You're trying to substitute when you shouldn't have to substitute. Just
have
push
to
it
substitute.
Back a week, 2 weeks, and then you're good. You're
and if
fine.
you're voted in, you should be.
You should be able to go
unless you're dealing with an injury.
Yeah.
Unless you're dealing with an injury, and I'm sure they'll all make up shit. But whatever, that's fine. Make it up if you want. But
I am not a Spurs fan, Agent.
But anyway, that's my little rant on the rules. I don't know how much they can change it. I think this game is already over officiated. Over officiated, Phil.
Yeah.
No, so.
Yeah. I mean, it gets kind of thing. I think it's kind of funny when they get to the point where even the fans can pick a play. It's like let's all vote and get the play going and stuff. But anyway, let's go past that and everything as well too. As this playoffs were going down, I think that was and I'm going to go back to what you were saying about Leonard. When you couldn't interview him in person and you had to do it over whatever Skype, Zoom, whatever the hell they use in the NFL. I think that was a disadvantage. I think that was a disadvantage for him. I think everybody, obviously, you always particularly I think you
Right.
tend to interview better in person, especially if you're a coach or whatever. But I mean, I think when you hear him talk, even some of the motivational stuff that he's had on the sideline, I think it's easier to kind of fall in love with that type of thing. I mean, all the stuff that Shadi has been talking about, what he wants in his coaches, you see this guy very much live all that every single day. So I got to give him credit in the sense that at least they went through and they went thoroughly through a search and everything, and they didn't wait a week, 10 days afterwards, let everybody kind of do their thing and then go, okay, let's go ahead and get Rex Ryan, So
Yeah.
I got to applaud them at least for changing that up. Is that it's front office, or do we all know that's a little bit more shoddy pushing that?
That's shoddy. That's
yeah.
shoddy. Which is, I think it's a good thing. I think that's a good thing. Oscar Perini, in 90s, the quarterbacks made $3 million tops, so whatever they got paid at Pro Bowl was something, getting paid 50, 60,
that's
no
true.
one go
Because
with
they
that.
wanted to win, right? You get paid extra bonus if you actually won and everything too.
Well, and I was just watching. That reminds me, I was just watching a year where Dan Marino was in that awesome accuracy contest with the golf carts and the targets, and going up against Steve DeBerg. And if you remember, Steve DeBerg, he kind of never got that big payday. He kind of made it to a starter, but relatively, he didn't make what Dan Marino was making at the time, and he was winning the competition. Dan had one throw to go, and the only way Dan could win is if he hit the very far target. It was like 50 yards or something with a he had to hit a bullseye, right? So what do you think Dan Marino did?
There's a bullseye.
Dan dropped back and just threw a laser, hit the bullseye. DeBerg's like, really, Dan? And, because he could use the money. Dan ended up writing him, cut him a check for like 17 grand or something. And, but he wanted the title. Dan
I'm going to say, you can't, I was say, I gotta get the title. You can have the check. I was like, we ain't playing that shit.
It was beautiful, but DeBerg
I
was
would agree, Coyote.
You gotta be kidding me.
I agree. I think that as well.
What's that? I got Seattle in Super Bowl, my dark horse. Yeah, well, I think we all kind of knew they were going to be good. I had Denver and Buffalo, I think. Or no, Rams. Bam. Well, yeah, I had Denver Rams. So I got close.
Yeah, I think the Rams had a really good chance. They just fell apart at the end of the season. I mean, the fact that they got as far as they did with that falling apart still in the process, I definitely give it.
Asia, we understand, sweetie. We understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. Go ahead, Phil. I'm sorry.
I love the Primetime product value. Fancy. You damn right, man. Damn right. But anyways, so many things have been happening. I think in the sense that how the season was kind of going, the playoffs. I didn't really get to talk to you too much other than the playoffs as well too. I was every phase of the playoffs. I was happy with somebody being eliminated, so I think that was a little bit my joy in the playoffs this past year. The first round, obviously, the Eagles, nothing against you guys. Good job for getting to the playoffs compared to us and winning the division. But obviously that was a happy, and then obviously I was happy the next week when Green Bay was out of there, and then it was like, so there was like, it was a lot of that.
Let's not listen. Let's not.
Other people's misery.
Logan's in the house. Jimbo's in the house. Let's not.
Hey, I have not been able to. Hey! This is the same guys that rip on me, so I'm not. It's a safe zone here.
Gloss over what
it's
happened.
the same zone. I haven't been able to say my part of it as well too. But he's already, he's already said it. He knows. He's poked at me as well too. I mean,
who's that?
Logan and everybody. So I mean,
no, but let's not like just quickly glance. Let's dig into that a little bit. They were a touchdown favorite at home in a playoff game against a wounded Niner team, and they should have won the game. That's why I said there's no guarantees next year. Not saying you can't, but don't sit there and say we are. Nobody is at this point. We'll see what happens. And I mean, if that were the Dallas Cowboys, I think most realistic Eagle fans, they would be saying, oh, there you go again, choke again. Because that's what it was, right? That was a situation where the most talented offense, the most paid offense in the league, was not running at a very high clip. Now we'll see. The Eagles brought in Sean Mannion, ex-journeyman quarterback, never called plays, so you're kind of in the same boat with us, right? I would say you're kind of in the same boat, and we'll see how this plays out. But very surprised. I had Eagles beating the Niners in that game and then losing, but I didn't expect them to lose to the Niners. It didn't surprise me, but I didn't predict it.
I was so happy when the Niners lost the next following week, though. Got their ass beat by Seattle.
Well,
I was like,
we knew that, though, right?
yes.
We're like, they're gonna.
I knew they were going to lose, but I didn't think they were going to lose that bad.
Down.
Yeah.
And they got absolutely destroyed. So
Yes.
that just shows you that the Eagles, even if they would have won, it would have been a one and done situation. But hey, at least you would have gotten that one. I'm a little envious that you at least won a division and got a chance to play. So, congrats on that.
I think they would. I think they would have matched a little bit better with Seattle compared to what San Francisco. San Francisco, it was not even on their page.
I don't think anybody was beating anybody in Seattle, though.
No.
That 12th man was a beast.
And it is. I've been in that stadium, and that's not playing. Don't play. I'm not going to give you that kind of credit. I've been inside the stands.
Jimbo's realistic. I appreciate it, brother. Not everybody's like you, Jimbo. You know that. We got to hear. We still, it's just a lot of. It's funny to me, but it is what it is. What's up, Chris? How are you?
So a lot of switching around. I heard that Leonard's possibility of a Buffalo Bills defensive coordinator. I was hearing that.
He was hired, yes.
Oh, was he hired?
So
he was hired for the defensive
Yeah,
coordinator. Good for Buffalo. I think that's a good one. I think that was that young one of those young talents.
But that tells you that if he was he would have been our coordinator if we would have chosen that.
And so I'm going to also go because I want to talk about this coaching stuff. I think it was a great hire by Washington as theirs to get Deontay Jones as well. So I thought that was a very good hire by them. And let's just say Deontay Jones. And then Bryan, the moment that it happened, when Hardball was fired, I said to Bryan in a text that I feel like that's going to be the Giants' next head coach. And bam, like weeks later, that's exactly what happened. So to me, that made the most sense. I thought when I explained what I thought, because I wasn't on broadcast.
About that. I don't know where you're going, but let's
no. What I was going to say was when I was saying it to you, it made the most sense. I mean, old school coach, old school values, and the Giants have hearing them talk about it in Hard Knocks and everything like that, the regrets. That would be a hell of a pickup for them to be able to get a coach like that. I'm not saying anything that's going to come out of it or anything, but if it isn't, I mean, that's still a really great coaching candidate to be able to pick up. And I think it made the most sense to me. I'm like burping this like Fanta out here. But what do you think about the hire?
This of Harbaugh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yes. I mean, this is you probably heard me say it, but I'm going to tell you what I think it did. Number one, it elevated their floor, right? I think now instead of 3, 4, 5 wins, you are now instantly a 7-win team, right? They still, if you match up as we sit here today, they have the worst offensive line in the NFC East. Can we agree, right? Mm-hmm. They have the worst receiving core. Malik Neighbors is not going to be there, right?
It's going to be hard to write.
And they have the worst quarterback, I would say, in the division. We could argue that, I'm not trying to troll, but based on the seasons that were just had, Jackson Dart may have a better ceiling than a couple of the quarterbacks not named Dak Prescott. And we're not big Dak Prescott fans, but he had a hell of a season. Not saying that, but if you're going to compare, I think, it's what have you done for me lately league. But, yeah, I think it brings the floor up, Phil. I think it brings the Giants' floor up. They're going to have a level that you can guarantee they're going to win 7 games. You can guarantee. I don't care what the schedule looks like. Now it's instead of 3, 4, 5, 6, it's 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. And we're already hearing, and I wanted your opinion on this, Tyler Linderbaum to the Giants. He's a free agent. He played with the Ravens. Now,
yeah, is that going to improve their offensive line?
It doesn't take much.
I would say, is that going to improve their offensive line? I guess a little bit. Michael Schmitz or whatever his name is. I think that right there is the same guy. As much as I was a Tyler Linderbaum fan coming out of college and stuff, but there are so many times I see him go to hit a block and he just whiffs and the linebackers and stuff like that. And so. To me, I don't really get fearful when I got a Tyler Linderbaum, especially when you have defensive tackles all over this division and stuff. You better bring some shit when it comes to center, and it better not be more than a Tyler Linderbaum.
I'm not afraid.
That's what I'm saying.
I think what it will do, though, what it will do, it will elevate. He will bring in competent coaches. You won't have what they've been having. They won't lose stupidly.
Yeah, but will it be young coaches? Will it be guys that are
going to lose by the?
That's what I was thinking. Was it going to be young coaches?
Well, they brought in, they have him, and they brought in Jim Leonard to be the defensive coordinator. Oh no, not Jim Leonard.
No.
They brought in who did they bring in to be a defensive coordinator? I know it. I know it. See, I should have. I mean, look.
I remember the top
just
of my
talk.
head, but I
I'll
remember.
find it.
Yeah. But no, I mean, when it comes to some of these hires, you're seeing just some of these guys when like the Buffalo whole thing that McDermott got thrown out. Then the following week, Tomlin, I wasn't surprised there. Obviously, we all said this 2 years ago that McCarthy was the obvious front runner for a Pittsburgh job, but we all thought that there was no way Tomlin was probably going to be kicked out, even with all the mediocrity. They still making the playoffs, even though they get eliminated. I think that is saying something for them. But then all of a sudden, this all started happening, and I was like, hey, it makes more sense that it would be McCarthy, especially with this history. And I mean, when you look at even with him and Harbaugh, I think those two have a very similar record, playoffs and all that kind of stuff. So,
yeah, looks like the Giants recently faced. Looks like the Giants are probably going to have Cliff Kingsbury as their offensive coordinator.
That's interesting.
So, it's not. I mean, he's like the front runner. So
that's what always got me was Washington moving away from him, and I don't know if there's arguments there or something that's going on. You lose your starting quarterback. Not to say that you have an amazing all-star line or tight end group or wide receivers beyond your 1 and 2 that are getting hurt. When you look beyond that, I mean, he doesn't get any kind of credit at all, for that?
Yeah.
For all those guys being hurt and stuff like that? Nah, man, It's got to be his fault. Let's get him out of here and stuff. So I was very surprised by that. I don't think he's a great offensive I don't think he's a great head coach, but I think he's a good offensive coordinator, and I think I've seen him develop quarterbacks in his watch. So, but then again, I have seen people fail under his watch too. So I think he's one of the 50-50 kind of guys too. So I don't think he's a terrible choice. I just think there were some guys like McDaniels. Do you guys think McDaniels is going to be a good offense coordinator because he had that in the past?
I like McDaniels.
Yeah.
But yeah. I like.
He went to the Chargers. Where
Yep.
did he go? I'm trying to remember, where did he go?
Yes, he's the offensive coordinator with the Chargers. Yes.
Yeah, I think so too, Oscar. That doesn't really, and then it wasn't like they put like an amazing all-star or anything into the offensive coordinator position either. So
yeah, but yeah, the Giants they've already hired Denard Wilson to be their defensive coordinator. So, again, kind of surprised that they didn't go out and get a Zach Orr and all that. But Bryan, Steelers fans in shambles. Asia, we could talk about that. Look, what's your thoughts on Mike McCarthy going back? It was a surprise hire for me. Doesn't fit the mold of what they normally do. This is almost like a stopgap. It is a 5-year deal, people. So this will probably McCarthy's last
thank you, Randy.
hire.
I appreciate that. I just said right now. 2 years ago, I was saying this stuff. I mean, to me, McCarthy was a Pittsburgh guy. He was from Pittsburgh. I got to give him credit. I mean, you've coached Green Bay, you coached Dallas, and now Pittsburgh and stuff. Those are big, huge franchises inside the NFL. So, a hell of a resume in that sense. I mean, it wasn't like he was slacking here either. I mean, yeah, the playoffs weren't successful or anything, but we had some really good high win seasons. So, good for him. I think, to me, it made the most sense. I think the only other person, like when I was thinking, I thought Brian Flores was just screaming Baltimore Ravens head coach, but I don't know if I don't know what it was that made him go, well, I'm going to go ahead and re-sign and everything. Was it because he felt like he wasn't going to get a head coaching job or what?
Yeah, he wasn't he wasn't going to get a head coaching job. Clearly, that lawsuit is an issue.
Yeah, man. Well, guess what?
Unfortunately,
burn your bridges, man.
That's exactly it. Let's say that again. Do not
burn your bridges.
Burn your bridges. I always say this to people, especially with my job. I've done management for a long time. Never went 2 feet in. Dabble here and there. And went on details to other offices and stuff. But you never know who your boss is going to be. You never know who at some point, if you're going to be in one organization for any length of time, you never know who your boss will eventually be. So make sure you handle your business in a smart way, right, Phil? You don't want to burn your bridges.
No, man. That's to me is like you always got to, the 2-week notice. Make sure things are good. You never know when you might have to take a step back in that sense. So yeah, I mean, I some of the stuff that is always shocking. I mean, when the NFL drama continues, I'm not really shocked there. There were some times, like if you notice in the beginning of this broadcast, obviously I had to kind of do the beginning was the first one because Parson was traded off, and then of course Diggs in his situation, so he's out of the beginning parts as well. And to me, when I saw the whole thing, Diggs, again, that was still a shocker to me. And but then again, when you see him playing and stuff like that, you're wondering if he's ever going to be back to where he was at. And it's just going to take it's going to be taking discipline on his part. He's going to need to go out there and work out and do shit. He can't just kind of rest on his laurels and stuff. So I think as long as he does that, he'll be fine as well too. So I'm just interested to see where his next, where the next part is going to be. Is it going to be somewhere like Miami Dolphins or something like that? So maybe Jacksonville, go over there with Jordan Lewis. But anyways, with all this stuff, I don't even know what direction to go to because I mean, again, like it was definitely some weeks. Go ahead.
The NFL just came out with the projected salary cap, and it'll be on the higher end of this. They came out and said it'll be anywhere from 301.2 to 305.7. So that's going to jump. I would say right anywhere from $23 to $25 million.
What I think they need to do is when they make this increase, they also go, and we're increasing the roster to 60 mans. And then bam, and then there you go. Now figure it out how you're gonna use your increased money to get a bigger roster. Like not just use it for 2 players to get higher things. Use it. Really use it. So. Make those rosters bigger. We're always, slipping and slide. I think there should be. I mean, the fact that you don't have another minor league underneath it, I think it's definitely just, to me, it's surprising. I know the UFL is doing its thing itself, and they're trying to partner with that whole thing. But if you really do not have it, I think you need something. You need some kind of development thing there, and so I think you need to be able to hold bigger rosters, almost like a soccer club.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, yes, that's my studio.
Phil, is that a real room you're in? I know you're a special effects, but no, that was his real room. Me and him did a broadcast, and maybe wasn't his best, but where I sat next to him. That was a couple years ago. I'm ready for another trip down to South Florida soon, so you get ready, fire up get the room ready. I can't deal with this ice. So right now, we gotta wait till Phil gets settled in with his new spot, and he can actually have time to himself. But looking at the NFL collective bargaining agreement, just wanted to touch on this because, man, did the players get royally shafted? They always do, right, Phil? It's a 10-year agreement from 2020 to 2030, so there won't be any changes to the schedule, how many games they play, but you could be rest assured that they will go to an 18-game schedule. They will add a bye week, and they'll probably take at least one more preseason game away, my guess. I think all you need is 2 preseason games. Let's face it, a lot of these teams do a lot of the training camp joint practices where they get a lot of work done there.
Yeah.
So in 2030, the players are going to try and do away with the franchise tag. I don't know if the owners will ever go there, but that may be what they'll have to do in order to get their 18-game season. You know what I'm saying? So stay tuned on that. I know it seems like it's far away, but it's really not. So I thought it was going to end earlier than that, but interesting to see where this game is going to go. You'll see in 18 games because you brought up increasing the rosters. They're not going to increase rosters until they add revenue. That's just how this is going to work, Phil.
They did add revenue. Yeah, shitload of revenue. All those streaming services and stuff. You just skip that? I mean, they are expanding into the whole world as well too. Like,
Well,
I don't know.
Momo,
What
I haven't
else you
seen.
want?
I don't know if Momo's here, but
Playing on the
Momo
fucking moon.
Momo was talking about they're playing the Super Bowl overseas in like Dubai,
I mean,
Riyadh season.
man,
You know,
you never
Riyadh.
know. You never know in the future where it
That
could
would
be.
suck,
It would suck. It
but
would
that
suck.
would create a lot of money.
Yeah,
that
I mean,
would
if people
create
they're gonna.
You know these. Listen, you know these owners are going to do that, Phil. They're going to do it. They're going to sorry, everybody. They're already killing the game, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
They are already killing the game with everything's about the dollar. How much is enough? You're already billionaires, right? So your thoughts on Seattle?
The type of team that they have.
No, that they already came out yesterday.
The whole thing
and
with the
said
selling and everything like that.
they're
the team
selling
and
the
stuff.
team after the Super Bowl.
I mean, that's when you want to do it, right? The most
And
is
donating
with the highest.
donating it to charity. That's how much money
Donating
they
a big
have.
chunk of it. Yeah.
Cheese and crackers.
I mean, it's something that she didn't want to be a part of, anyways. I think wasn't it
There
the
you go,
brother that
everybody.
died or something like that, and she took ownership or whatever.
Look who's calling me.
Mark,
He
yeah,
obviously
there goes
doesn't have his bell notifications on.
Oh, he doesn't watch me. He doesn't watch mine. I'm too little for that.
Shut
I'm too small time for that. It's like he don't think of me as prime time. He thinks of me as small time. So
I'm gonna text him that.
I give Mark
Phil
shit
said,
all the
get
time.
your bell notifications on, jag off.
But when you look at this team, that I love the coaching staff as we're going. We got a lot of ways to go. Especially with the development of these young guys. Getting a free agents in here. I mean, when it comes to this defense, man, you need a person across every single layer of this defense and plus some. It's like oh yeah, you need maybe another defensive guy. Oh, defensive end, hell yeah. But you definitely need a lot of linebackers. You need some secondaries and stuff like that. So it's not just one little thing as well. Oh, he's one negative. But it's you gotta be. At some point, gotta be a positive thing too, man. There's gotta be something there. Like negative, just constant, constant. But when you look
year, and how many years that we don't have any big names coming off major injury? Coyote, very big. I mean, that's a big deal, right? I don't know. Well, like I have a question. Yeah, right. I have a question for Phil, but. Like before I get to it, is there something you want to get to right now?
No, you're good.
All right. I was talking to Wade off the line, right? And I brought up this situation. Dak Prescott, right? He made it through a healthy season to a 7-win season. Now, I think we could all admit it was the defense, right? I think that was. Yeah. But in saying that, I am not comfortable with our backup quarterback.
Oh, hell no.
I am not.
Our backup quarterback should be our third string quarterback.
With him being the backup, with
he should be
Dak
the third string.
having to go another whole year without missing games.
Yeah.
We need to get a veteran quarterback. Kirk Cousins is going to be released.
Dude, that's
Why not
hilarious.
go
I was
get
thinking the same thing.
the white
Same thing.
actual Kirk Cousins and the black Kirk Cousins on the same team?
Yeah, man. Put them
Wouldn't that
together.
be
You
good?
might. Are their powers
might get
combined?
twins.
Kind of like Captain Planet. You never know. It's like an ultimate.
That's a perfect marriage made in heaven for me.
That
Go
would,
give me Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, somebody's a veteran backup quarterback. I'm all about. I think the Miami Dolphins proved that. You can't just go by something that's like, man, like that again. That whole thing, like McDaniels. I think I don't know what that was. You can tell where he was at compared to where he was when he left. The style that he picked up that Miami style. But at any point, did you pick up a voice to be able to say, hey, man, I need a quarterback. You want me to be able to push this franchise forward at all? We need to go somebody other than and then one guy. I mean, and that guy was always a very big question mark. So I think, you need to be able to, you don't know what's going to happen. What happened with Denver right over there? Denver, they're going strong. And then all of a sudden, Bo Nix is at the end of that game. Bam. And then I thought right at that moment, I was like, okay, well, shoot, definitely going to have to go Patriots on that one. As much as Peyton was talking on the trash, I think the only thing that kept him in that game was that hell of a snowstorm. I think that was a crazy game to watch.
Yes.
But I did like the playoffs this year. The playoffs were very close. They're back and forth.
Yeah, they were. But Atlanta owned Cousins. Leo, I thought I read, and I could be wrong, that Kirk Cousins was about to be released.
I'm saying
Leo, I'm saying if they, once the league year starts, they're not going to do it right now. But I thought they, but I'm just saying, I need somebody like that, Leo. I need, if there's a veteran out there more capable, we need to get that guy.
Yeah, we don't need Mariota when he gets released,
Well, I don't mind Mariota, but I don't think we can win with him. We need we need a guy like a Kirk Cousins. Let me see. I'll look it up.
I was say, look who's free right now. Yeah, I mean, even to me, I think as well. You got to get that second tight end. Luke Schoonmaker has to, it's not there. Spanford, I do like how he developed, but again, he's still that developing tight end you're projected to. And Jake Ferguson is just disappears.
The Atlanta Falcons are expected to release veteran quarterback Kirk Cousins in early March of 2026. Ahead of his $67.9 million.
See, to me,
guarantee.
Him in Miami would make more sense.
I'm not giving a shit about Miami.
I know what you're saying, but he's not going to want to go for
37-year-old who was benched for Michael Penix started. Yeah, I'm just saying I would like a guy like that.
Because there's a couple of teams right now that could be that.
Back up Dak Prescott.
Cleveland, look at Cleveland. I mean, you don't think they're desperate to try to get somebody like that?
Why? They got a Pro Bowl rookie quarterback. They're fine.
Nice.
They're fine. They don't need them. But Jimbo, it's all about.
That's so true.
It's all about. Yeah, I was trying to read, but he misspelled it. It's all about the money, Jimbo. They have to let him go. They're not going to take that hit. Now, he may re-sign with Atlanta, but they will cut him.
After they just did that with him,
at some point in one of these near shows, we need to figure out. That's why I said Dak and Cousins on the same team, a dream team made in heaven. Yeah, we'll have the actual Kirk Cousins and the black Kirk Cousins. That would be good. But anyway, yeah. So I'm just saying, as I was talking to Wade, looking at my team, how could offensively I could get better? I could get a better backup.
I think there's definitely.
I'm holding my breath this year with Dak Prescott.
Not only the backup
I'm holding my
quarterback,
breath.
you need also the backup tight end. You need the tight end. Because I do like your two in the sense of it's Ferguson. You're not going to walk away, especially with the contract. You got Spanford that was developing, but Schoonmaker's the one that's definitely odd man out. I think you got to go a tackle, whether you're replacing Steele or you're moving Guyton over and then replacing Guyton over in the left tackle. But I think you need a tackle as well too. So I think those are three spots. I mean, what are you doing at your running back position? So yeah, I mean. But those are all questions that honestly take a back seat to all that crap that you need on the defensive side. So he's looking for his dogs too.
I agree with you.
Your dog's driving you crazy? What's going on, man? No, there it is.
Yeah.
Trying to be part of the show.
This is my friend's dog. She's actually right near you, Phil. She was in Clearwater yesterday. Colleen, who went to Vegas with us. So this is her dog. We're watching her dog. She misses her mommy. Oh, she got me a wet one right in the mouth. There you go. So you could have heard that? I thought I muted myself.
No.
When I called my dog.
You did. I just had it.
Okay.
I was just guessing. I know you, man. I studied psychology in college, so it's like.
I know you, man. So that's where I was.
Yeah,
I don't know why I was thinking
that's gonna
of
be
that.
another one. Murray. Man, got to get
Murray,
him out the door.
if he takes a discount, but he will get a shot somewhere. Your thoughts on
UFL?
Javonte Williams?
Yeah, I would
Like,
sign him.
we're
I
hearing
loved how he ran. I don't.
Well, we hear a lot of people say we got to go get the Seattle running back. I'm like, that's going to cost too much. That doesn't make any sense to me.
No. I'm happy with what we had. And now, do you possibly pick somebody in the draft or pick somebody there? Yeah, I could definitely go for that as well too. But I think that's just because you don't know what do you have in Phil Maffa. Do you like what you have in the season? How is he going to have in the offseason? How is his training camp going to go? Is that a possibility? Can he get a better number than what he has right now? I think there's a lot of things that make a better running back, and I think he needs to improve as well too. So is Blue going to get his assignments? What was the whole reason why he wasn't starting and stuff like that, or playing or sniffing the field or or even getting positive things talked about with him. We saw a little bit at the end of the season, but again, I've seen, when I saw Tony Pollard, when I saw Felix Jones, those kind of guys, there was a special something about them, and I've yet to see it with Blue. But that doesn't mean it can't develop there. I just need to see a little bit more from him, right?
Yeah. Oh, she's in the chat here. Gametime's producer. Mommy misses her baby girl. Yeah, she misses you. So, but yes, and she said it was actually cold in Florida today. It was in the 40s, I think she said, where she was. Not good. But anyway, yes, I agree. I agree, Phil.
Well, there's a lot. I mean, let me ask you a question. When we're going back and forth with the offense, defense, stuff like that, let me swing a little bit to the special teams there. What do you think about the whole Swanson staying? Coach, the guy that came from San Francisco.
I know who he is.
I know he didn't do so much this year that you didn't know who the hell he was.
You actually pronounced the W. I like it. Swanson. I like it. Shit. He sucked. This is his last year.
Yeah, he did. I'd probably agree with that one too. But they said he was safe this year, and I was like,
he's safe. He's coaching for a job. Listen, we didn't lose because of special teams, right? So
we didn't win about it either. I mean,
I didn't like some of the indecisiveness with Aubrey and his kickoffs. I know we're nickel and diming you here, but I kind of think that it's not that big a deal. But we were near the bottom of the league in returns, believe it or not. A number of returns and average starting position.
Well, that's what happened.
We were bad.
That's what happens when the football is bigger than your punt returner's head. It's kind of crazy. It's like a big bobblehead that's back there catching balls and stuff.
There was too much indecision. It seemed like there was way too much indecision.
Okay,
so what you want is a guy to have a plan. How many times are you gonna see this shit?
Yes, thank you. That's what I was about to say. How many times are you gonna do this and start running? Like, dude. You did that way more than you had more than a 20-yard kickoff or something to return. What was that all about? That shouldn't even be a motion. The hand, what are you doing? You're trying to get your balance? Is the bobblehead thing? Your head's too big kind of thing? Where you're just
right.
I don't know. What's going on? Game time producer. I like that. I like Game Time's producer. I like that.
That's Colin.
That's a good good login.
Nobody knows her because as a producer, she never shows up in the chat.
She's always in the behind the scenes. That's why.
Start producing shit. Oh, I'm joking.
She's like Dr. Dre, man. She's all like, I'm here
to
find the
She's
talent.
The one that made this.
I find the talent.
She made this logo.
Well, we need to come together with that Time Brothers thing. I think, if you see the second one that I have a thing down on the bottom there. So I put Time Brothers there.
Yeah, I'm gonna do more stuff with that. When I actually
up in North Florida, Asia, my little brother. Congratulations as well. They just found out that they're gonna be having a girl, and so I'm like, yes.
Phil.
No, not like that. I'm not my kid. My little one in the set. My little brother. That's what I said. Not my little one. Little brother.
Uncle.
Yes, another. Yeah.
I scared him for a second.
Yeah, whoa, no. Let's not go there.
Uncle Phil. There he goes. Mark Holmes shows up.
What's going on, Mark? Welcome.
Phil was just talking shit.
Small time Phil is on the broadcast again.
Small time Phil showed up.
Yeah, I was like, I couldn't remember my logins.
I said, obviously he doesn't have his bell notifications on, and Phil goes, yeah, well, I'm small time, so he doesn't have,
He ain't got no time for that. I ain't got time for that.
He ain't got no time for a little old Phil. Momo got killed with the storm. Oscar again. Momo.
Uncle Phil.
It's Momo's Momo. We love Momo.
Small potatoes, yep. But anyway, so man, there's I like where we're going. The hiring, I think, is very, it's not just rush. It's not a word of mouth. It's just really, you're for the first time, you have your new head coach, offensive coordinator, defense coordinator. I think that's the whole,
I like
that
it.
says
it's
it.
a
I
youth
like
movement.
It. Yes.
Whether it's going to work, we have no clue.
No clue at all.
So let me ask you something. Mike McCarthy gets all this credit for having 3 straight 12-win seasons, and we all loved it. We all loved being in the mix. But the end game was bad. All right,
Yeah, it was the
I'll try
opposite
and
of
keep it
Avengers.
PG.
It was the opposite of Avengers, where it went like beginning was good, and then the band. Like I thought it was opposite
You
of
know,
Avengers. There was
I wanted a Dare to be great, which is why I'm not going to crap on Sean Mannion to the Eagles because I don't know. I don't know the man. I know,
me.
a Dare to be great.
I'm a
He's young,
person, and I'm not
33
gonna.
years old. My guy's 34.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
fine
I'm
with
not. I'm always going to be on the side of as an ex quarterback myself that hey, we can call freaking plays. I'm like, I don't think of an offensive. I don't think of a quarterback not being able to run an offense. So. I think it's just, can you go into situational? It's the situational footballs that kind of define you in your career later on. So yeah, I mean, I think he'll do well. I think he'll do a lot better than obviously what they had this past year. I think there's just certain situations you got to know what you want to do, and they can't be so damn decisive and undecisive. And if you see stuff that doesn't work, don't be afraid to switch out of it. I mean, I saw occasionally times in the tush push where you were going to do one way and then you pitch it out to Barkley. That was a whole different thing. But that's what they should have been doing throughout the different times as well. And it didn't feel like their offensive coordinator knew how to do that, didn't understand situational football because he wasn't in those situations before. Now, hey, you're hoping that he learned from those situations and now he would do something different. Well, if I'm ever in that situation again, I would do this, And so, but as a quarterback, it's a little different.
In the red zone.
Yeah.
We were, I think I looked it up. We were 17th in the red zone. We're number one in offense, but listen, it's about scoring points, right? I don't need to be number one on offense. I'll take 5. I'll take 8. As long as we're up near the top 5 in his scoring, that's what it's about, right, Phil? Putting points on the board.
Yeah, I agree.
But at the end of the day, I like where the team is going. There's multi levels to how you're getting to where you are now and the start of the season. This is, dude, you have 7 months before any meaningful games are played? Where are we at now? The end of January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. The end of August, and that's at the precipice of the start of the season. So you're talking 7 months of. Hallie Pierce, how are you, Hallie? What's up? What's the matter? What happened?
No, she was just saying better late than never. No, probably just running late.
Oh, Hallie
Hopefully
Pierce.
nothing bad.
Top. Yeah. But yeah, so again, it'll be interesting to see what they do between now and then the start of free agency and then how they come out of the draft. And then post-draft, Dallas is always active. But I like what they're doing with the coaching staff. If we can get this defense to mid-pack or even upwards of 10, like I was telling Mark, we've seen it done just a couple years ago when we had Mike Nolan to Dan Quinn. We jumped into the top 10 on defense. You could do it. You just need to see what they do and go out. Who are they going to pluck, add on our defense, Phil, to elevate the defense? You're bringing in a Zach Orr. You're bringing in a Christian Parker. You're bringing in Minnesota guys. You are going to have relationships there that you can bring certain players in. I'll be curious to see, how this defense looks going forward outside of the 6 guys. I said there's 6 guys that are part of this defense, Phil. Let me know if you agree. I figure you got Savone Ravel, year 2, right? You got Deron Bland. You have the 3 defensive tackles, Osa, Kenny Clark, and Quinnen Williams, and then obviously you have DeMarvion Overshown. Those are your building blocks of your defense.
Well. I'd probably add Easy in there.
Easy, there you go. I missed Easy, yes.
Yeah, but again, I think that's right there. I think that's where the Bucs stop. I mean, you might make an argument for Leofau, but I think that's even that's a very on the teetering edge of it as well too.
Well,
so I mean, because
and I want to ask you this because we haven't talked about it. What do you? I think I know the answer, but I'm not going to lead you into it. My opinion, anyway. Nobody elevated their game on defense. Not one player that was in here in training camp played better because. What would you attribute that to? I mean, our 2 best players were Quinnen Williams.
I can't help
got midseason, and
if nobody stands out, I mean, to me, it's a coaching.
Nobody
thing.
stands out, Phil. Nobody.
To me, it's like coaching. A lot of coaching. Nobody stands out. That's why when I was seeing things get pointed out, even as much as Murray's a pain, maybe I got to, push a little bit of that as well too. But because it's obviously a lot of it. I mean, the talent wasn't there for his personnel to go, and he was just stubborn as hell and didn't want to adapt. So I think, obviously we're talking about how this roster definitely needs to improve in the sense of the secondary, the linebackers, adding an edge rusher and stuff like that. So there's definitely a lot of stuff that needs to happen this offseason, and that's where I'm as with you. I mean, I'm interested in once that free agency opens, how active are you going to be on that part of it? Where are you going to be angling? Because if you're, going this way in the sense of coaching staff, this is hopefully how I'm hoping you're going to be attacking free agency as well too. I mean, I know people are going to be attacking it as well, especially with the bigger salary caps and stuff like that. So, people going, oh, we have this much available. Well, guess what? A lot of people have stuff available. And I've seen teams that are like negative 65 million be able to get their roster positive in order to start signing some people, in the sense of the Saints. Remember the Saints not too many years back as well too. So to me, the whole salary cap, you got this much money and stuff, I laugh at that shit because it's meaning less and less now, especially the way that contracts are being pushed and made, and so that's why even when Stephen Jones was before making those excuses, it was like yeah whatever. You just now you hear a little different tone coming from his mouth as well too this year. So that doesn't mean that shit will be different as well too, but you're hoping. So Phil,
right,
you talking
right.
draft? I mean, I guess we could talk some draft. I haven't been able to dive deeper into the college.
Me neither. Not yet. Not tonight.
I know there are some directions I would go. I mean, obviously to me, defense, but again, if you got a CeeDee Lamb type of situation there, I'm not going to get pissed off about it as well too. So I mean, I think the next one, I think that may be our next week. I think that draft maybe next week would be pretty good. So that would be something we can look forward to. It gives us a week to kind of start looking at a little bit more, some of the guys that haven't been able to. Chris, here we go. Drew is like a broken record. Blah, blah, blah. Skip, repeat. Oh, yeah, trust me. It's, you got to poke at him, man. You got to poke during the offseason. This is it. I mean, it gets that way with, when we aren't winning. They can poke at us. Oh, your last championship was a VHS and all that stuff. Yeah, it's until the team makes it relevant. I mean, it seems like us fans have to deal with more of that than
right.
the team itself. So I just, again, whether it's shoddy, whether it's, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking, your immortal, not being immortal, in Stephen Jones, knowing that maybe that time of his life is coming and that he would like to see another championship that's not a Jimmy Johnson type of championship or anything, or tied to Jimmy Johnson. So yeah, I'm interested to see where they go. If things are going to be different in a sense. I do like the hiring of the coaching staff, so I do like that. Again, the past 2 years, last offseason, I definitely like that as well too. So I just need to continue on it. When you get into this draft, allow your scouting department to draft best player available. And I'm hoping that's the case because you went out and actually attacked free agency. Haley, thank you very much.
It's a multifaceted thing. It's multi-levels before the start of the season. Dirty Sanchez with the super chat. And he failed to realize that our lack of talent on defense stopped them on that 21-point lead in the second half. They were good enough for that. Again, I don't really... Yeah, you could listen to any content creators that may say something that you agree with and want to spew that. The fact of the matter is we got some serious defensive linemen there. Yeah, we need some help in the secondary, obviously. I'm expecting Christian Parker to do exactly that. We'll get into names, but there's 6 or 7 really good pieces on that defense. But you're going to see 4 or 5 new starters, and I guess that would be an overhaul. They are going to a 3-4, but they do a lot of, we were talking about it on Mark's Live. I stopped in for a little bit. Christian Parker did a lot of 5-man front stuff, so you could easily do that. And you're going to rotate. I mean, you're going to rotate those defensive linemen. You got Solomon Thomas, Osa, Quinnen Williams, and Kenny Clark. Since the trade, Dallas was, a top 5 in stopping the run. They were number 1 for a little bit, but they were a top 5 run defense. We all know where they need help. I think a lot of it was scheme, Phil. I think that what we were watching was really pathetic in the scheme that they were running, playing soft zone. How many times, Phil, did you see 3rd and 6 and they're playing 4 or 5 yards?
If you were sitting right next to me on the Raiders game,
that's not talent.
I felt bad for Bryan just because I was bitching about that secondary.
He was beating the hell out of me.
I was like, "Look at this! It's a
he was
zone."
beating the hell out of me.
I was like, This is an
like,
attackable defense, an extremely attackable defense. You know, just go back. It's not like you're
he
getting
got
a whole
so
bunch of
pissed he went
pressure.
in for a second hot dog.
Yeah,
I mean,
did.
that's all, man.
It was amazing. It was good. That one had like a little bit of onions and everything.
Was
on
the
it.
food not ridiculously expensive there?
It was.
I didn't think it was.
I thought it.
I didn't think it was.
Oh, I guess no. I'm thinking of Hertz and stuff like that. No, it wasn't. I guess it was. I even got my little
I didn't
cup.
think it was that bad.
I even got my Eric Williams cups. I think was it Eric Williams? Who was it?
No, Eric Allen, right here.
Eric Allen. There it was. The corner. That's right.
There you go, Drew. Eric Allen.
Yeah, from the Eagles as well.
Eric Allen, a Raider. It really don't look good in a Raider. I keep everything. We got a little, Anyway.
No, and I think that was great. When you look at the development of last year, it's just, I feel, man, it feels like my kid's soccer program, like from last year or so. Like, look, man, it's just like the losing part, you can get past it, but you need to see improvement. You need to see people improving. And if you're seeing people improve, then you can go, okay, here in the next couple of years, we're going to have some stuff, but you can't see any of that stuff because you got,
right.
I can't, right. I mean, give me a freaking picture where you see, Eberflus coaching somebody. Where is that picture? I never saw a picture where he's leaning in, talking to somebody. Hey, you need to get your hands. Like Dan Quinn was at least up in that defensive line, kind of pushing on them and stuff. You always saw pictures. He was always involved. Where was Eberflus? He was always like I never even saw him talking to people other than occasionally I would see him in the beginning of a game. I was like, oh, I guess he does talk to the team and stuff like that because it felt like there was nothing. So it's just like you want to be able to play for your coach, and I think that's what you're bringing in as well too.
Yeah. I don't know. Sorry, I was just reading Mark's text. Yeah. Eberflus, his problem.
Yeah,
that'd
probably be your CeeDee Lamb situation, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Talking about Jimbo
Randy McIntyre. Vinny, they need 2 OCs in Philly. That way, if one fails, the other one got a 50% chance of being successful.
So in Jimbo, look at Jimbo.
Do you draft Jeremiah Love if he falls to a 12? That's a good question.
I think to me, that's kind of one of your situations. I think you also pointed out that could be your situation. That is that CeeDee Lamb. That would be a corner piece for your team. And it'd be one of those things where it's just like you don't expect it to fall to you. It's just like I think that one that would be the dream is obviously Caleb Downs, but we all know that's not going to happen. But I think, I don't see either one of those being really a possibility. But I would be okay with that. I think that's what I'm saying. If you're doing best player available, and
right.
you're already been wiped out. Sonny Styles is off there. You got. You got your defensive ends that are out there. There's all these guys that could be, and then you get wiped. Because I've seen that. I mean, if you look on NFL.com, I think Jeremiah, he had one where almost all of our possible guys that could be dropping.
Jeremiah?
Yeah, Daniel Jeremiah. Thank you. He has one where almost all our guys gets wiped off the board by the time we get to 12. Yeah. So, I mean, if something like that happens, your best player available, right? Or if you're hopefully trading back.
Trade down. Well, okay, but there has to be a player there.
That
maybe
you're
a Ty Simpson.
4 or 5, yeah.
Maybe a Jeremiah Love. Again, if Jeremiah Love's there, maybe somebody will be willing to trade up for him rather than you take him. We got plenty of time to talk draft, but yeah, I agree.
So I think there's definitely scenarios where you could take offense and you don't piss off
I'm not
Cowboys.
taking a running back at 12, so that's just me. And I'm not taking a receiver at 12.
I think the only position that always makes me nervous in the first round is always corner. Corner is always kind of that one that makes me very nervous.
I agree. I keep hearing Reek Willen is going to be a free agent. That would fit perfectly in a new scheme. play outside, move Bland in the slot. That's what I would want. Go get yourself a corner in free agency, Phil. Go get yourself at least one linebacker in free agency. That way you go into the draft, and now you can trade out, if need be, assuming you've already re-signed Javante and you did your job with Pickens. You probably franchise him. Hopefully you agree on a deal, but then maybe you have options. But maybe somebody drops to you. Maybe if you do a really good job in free agency, Phil, then you could maybe move up 3 or 4 spots to pick a Caleb Downs. If
I would pick up like that. I would do that.
You wouldn't be giving up that much. There is a scenario. Let me ask you this. There's a scenario, supposedly, now that McCarthy's in Pittsburgh, that what's the guy's name?
Fitzpatrick?
Nick Herbig.
Or
whatever, the outside linebacker. He's 25. He has 7.5 sacks. He's 25 years old, but he would fit the scheme perfectly. Basically, you would give up 12 and you would get 21. So basically, they would move up from 21 to 12.
I'm not familiar with the guy, so yeah.
Nick Herbig, yeah, he's like a JJ. He rotates with JJ Watt basically. So, or TJ.
That's probably why you don't hear about him much because.
Yeah, but he's a young up and comer. He has sacks. He fits that 3-4 mold. You need a lot of those guys, and you would give up 12, but you would drop to, so you would ultimately have Nick Herbig and then 20 and 21.
Yeah.
Then you have to pay him because he's ready for a contract. So that's the issue why you would get him relatively cheap. I would rather just move up a few spots. Let's say you gave up 12 and 20, right? And let's say you got a bottom of the first and maybe a third round pick back, right? For Caleb Downs, something like that. I would do that. You're getting an unbelievable player that you would think would come in, hit the ground running. People are like, I don't want to give up both picks. You're getting something back. It wouldn't cost you 12 and 20. Number one, you're getting number 8 overall. If he even gets that far, I think that's where you would have to go to. So you would have to move up 4 spots, which is about 200 points. So, you would have to give up 12 and 20 for 8, but then you would get something back. So hopefully maybe a 1 and a 3 or a 1 and a 2 next year, something like that. Vinny Hagan says Herbig is a poor man TJ Watt. Squeaky clean, Leo the Greek.
I guess that's kind of what we need. But Brian, I'm not sure. I know the next one I want to kind of push into the draft and probably talk some of the scenarios there.
Yeah, we'll
go into the trade backs, trade into if we're wiped out in certain situations as well. Pull some PFF draft, maybe do a mock draft as well too, even though it's early. I think once the combine and all that kind of stuff really starts to happen, I think that's when people start to settle a little bit more. When you look at those ones, but it wouldn't hurt to try to take a wild stab and see if maybe we get one of those guys. Occasionally we do. And then that's how you start to pick your favorites, right? You start to get favorites, and then you get all bummed when your rival team picks the same person. You're like, damn it.
Yeah, right? Yeah, exactly.
But anyways, game time, anything you want to talk about or
no, man, I think we did good. I just looked, we're almost at an hour and 15. It seems to go by quick when we get together. It was a good first one back, man. I think we covered everything we wanted to cover, and I think I'm good, man. I think we're good.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you putting up with the fact that I had to kind of do a little bit of a leave of absence. And honestly, to tell you the truth, I was able to work, concentrate on a lot more with work when the Cowboys weren't doing as great too. So as much of that sucked as well too, because I wasn't, sucked into that world. But right now, I do want to get back into it, just because obviously there's To me, I do like where this coaching staff is going now. We're doing the phase 2 again, where like last time with Mike McCarthy couldn't pick, he couldn't pick his defensive coach, and he couldn't pick that whole thing. And then the second year, Dan Quinn comes, and then all of a sudden it picks up and stuff like that. I'm interested to see if that's the type of situation that could possibly happen. I know, again, I liked what his offense was going, and I understand what type of offense we have. We have a really great, possibly elite offense, but you have your snags where there's times where you're just not going to score. The beginning of the game is all slow.
Right.
You don't really get going and stuff like that. You kind of have to know what you have. They need to improve that. That's why they're always trying to perfect. That's why they're going to practice, is not to be that way. But right now that's who they are, and you need a defense, and you need to be able to improve that defense to be able to allow yourself to have those snags and to allow you to stay in games and be able to attack later on and make those pushes. So again, I do like the direction, Brian. I do like the direction we're going as well with this channel and your channel. Are you doing a broadcast this week? I'm going to guess, assuming yes, and hopefully I can jump on.
I'll do. I don't know. I don't really plan much. I'll definitely do something for the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I say. I could do. I was thinking about joining you for the Super Bowl as well too. So if you're gonna be on your channel.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds fun then.
Yeah.
Definitely. I gotta get some more items to give away, but yeah, that'll be fun.
Just text me during the week if you decide you're going to do it. Again, I appreciate everybody coming through, and it's great to see everybody else here as well too, and even the trash talking, man. I love it. I do miss it. It's part of the sport.
Fun.
And that's what kind of that's what drives this sport as well too, in this division. I mean, we're all competitive, and I think just even the coaching part, I think all of our teams, they definitely improved. I was still even impressed with Washington and what they did over there in the sense of coaching. One of the Cliff Kingsbury things that was a little bit questionable to me, but I don't know. I wasn't there. But anyways, Chris, I appreciate that. He says, "Hey, Game Time Phil, you subbed on mine." I am. I believe I am. I had to go back. I want to say I am.
Put it up there. I know I am.
Yeah, go ahead and put it in the chat. But yes, so again, I appreciate everybody coming through. I appreciate the trash talk. I appreciate the support, and honestly, Game Time, I appreciate the partnership, man. So here we go, and like always, don't forget to do what?
Ring that bell, everybody.
Oh man,
Chris,
that was a little. I didn't know where I put the bell for a minute there. Here we go. Take it easy, guys. Peace.
All right, hey. All right, good job, guys. Let's just not come in tomorrow. Let's just take a day.
Talking prime rib in bed. I'm using a blanket as a napkin. That's fancy. That's fancy.
Real fancy.
What? Did we just become best friends?
Yup.
Do you want to go do karate in the garage?
Yup.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I think we handled that with dignity.
Free candy!
Johnny loves Chachi.